So here sits Kymco's 50th anniversary UXV 700i SP. It certainly looks flashy, but how does it stack up against other comparables in a heavily saturated side-by-side market? What are its strengths and weaknesses? And is the consumer getting good value for their dollar? The UXV 700 is powered by a 695cc 4-valve liquid-cooled single. Power is transferred to the wheels via a typical automatic CVT transmission that includes low range. While not a stunner, this motor has good bottom end pull and is capable of taking you anywhere you'd realistically need to go. As a 700, it's a little on the soft side though. The claimed 45 horsepower would be decent if we didn't think that number was maybe just a tad optimistic. The chassis is largely unchanged from the last Kymco side-by-side we tested. It's solid and well built and features a double A-arm front and rear suspension setup that yields a mild 7.5 inches of travel and is damped by a set of what Kymco describes as fully adjustable shocks. Only problem is that after more confusion and investigation than I'd like to admit, I finally came to the realization that these shocks are in fact only preload adjustable. Not really as full as I was expecting based on their description. The ride is adequate. Not overly plush, but not harsh. The limited travel becomes more apparent the more gnarly the terrain becomes. Shiftable 4x4 with a locking front diff works smoothly and definitely helps when the going gets sticky. In terms of amenities, the 700i SP certainly has a few. The 700i base model is just that, very basic with few bells or whistles, and that's one thing we've always liked about it. It's pretty simple, but comes at a great price. The SP, on the other hand, has got more bolt-ons than the average person would choose to bolt on if given the choice. Nice-looking red aluminum wheels wrapped in genuine Kenda tires, including a full-size spare, half windshield, roof, rear roll bar extension with spare tire mount, rear bumper, fully stocked light bar, seat covers, and the list goes on and on. As impressive as this list is, we feel what's most important is whether or not these additions add value to the vehicle as a whole package over and above the base model. And in this case, our feelings are mixed. We always like a nice set of wheels and tires, and these ones are definitely nice. We also love lights, the more the merrier. A roof and windshield are always welcome additions, and bumpers can come in very handy when you need them the most. So these things are all great upgrades over the base Kymco 700i. Stitched seats really do look great, but they tend to seep water through the seams when they're wet. A full-size spare is really nice to have, but can take up a lot of cargo space when you try and carry it with you. And this brings me to my biggest gripe with this vehicle. The 700i SP falls into the sport utility side-by-side classification. As such, you'd expect it to be capable of working and playing equally as hard. But in their quest to add more sporty appeal to the SP with the addition of the rear roll bar extension and spare tire mount, Kymco has severely limited the functionality of its cargo bed. The roll bar extension bolts into the cargo bed, and this uses up a lot of cargo space, but that's not what bugs me the most. Because the extension bolts into the cargo bed, the bed no longer tilts. Now, a small, non-tilting cargo bed is something we feel is reserved strictly for pure sport side-by-sides. As a sport utility, a dumping cargo bed is a must-have. And this is where I feel the UXV 700i SP really gets lost in its personality. With a market overflowing with awesome pure sport side-by-sides and hugely capable utility models, a sportier sport ute trying to be both isn't strong competition. Finally, we need to talk about value. What are you actually getting for the money you're spending, and what else could you get for similar money? This is where Kymco products we've tested in the past have really stood out. The 700i SP is in the same price category as a Polaris Ranger 570 SE with EPS, a Polaris RZR 570 with EPS, or a Can-Am Commander with EPS. This means for the same money, you can buy a market-leading, purpose-built utility, pure sport, or sport utility side-by-side, all of which include power steering. But in their quest to build an upgraded 50th anniversary edition UXV, we think Kymco may have strayed a little too far from what they're best at, building decent side-by-sides for an excellent price. Honestly, the base model UXV is a better value and offers more real-world usability. Its low price makes it easy to overlook anything you may not love about it. This 700i SP model simply isn't cheap enough, so those gripes tend to stand out. If you enjoyed this video, post a comment and let us know what you think. Then, click this link to subscribe and that link for more great videos from DirtTrax TV.